Today, we'll be taking a look at AI's prediction for the 2028 presidential election. We asked ChatGPT to predict the next general election, and in this video, we'll be sharing with you guys the results. And so we'll begin with the Republican primary, where J.D. Vance was the projected GOP nominee. This is very much in line with the markets on Kalshi. J.D. Vance currently has a 52% chance of being the next GOP candidate. Marco Rubio is in a faraway second, and Donald Trump is actually in third with a 5% chance. Now, we do have some other candidates on this list as well: Glenn Youngkin, Ron DeSantis, and Donald Trump Jr., but ultimately, J.D. Vance is far and away the favorite. Next up on the Democratic side, Gavin Newsom, the projected nominee. He has been very active over the last few months. It's so obvious that he's gunning for the nomination in 3 years. He's been posting on Twitter basically every single day. And this prediction is also very much in line with the betting markets on Kalshi, where Gavin Newsom has a 31% chance of being the next Democratic candidate. AOC in second place at 11, Pete Buttigieg in third at 8. This is concerning for Democrats, as AOC and Buttigieg are among two of the least electable Democratic candidates. Next up in fourth place is Wes Moore, Kamala Harris in fifth, and Josh Shapiro tied with the former vice president. And so now we have our matchup set, and it will be between Republican Vice President J.D. Vance and Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom. And so now we're going to fill in the electoral map, as not only did we ask ChatGPT to give us an eventual winner, we also asked it to project every single state. So we're going to begin with the solid states that AI gave to Vance or Newsom by a margin of 15 points or more. And so beginning with the safe red states, we have Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, North and South Dakota, all of Nebraska except its 2nd district. We're going to skip on over Kansas, but come down to Oklahoma. We're also going to add Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia, all into the solid Republican category, and this gives the vice president 96 electoral votes. Next up, we're going to fill in the solid blue states for the California governor. They're basically the traditionally Democratic states. On the West Coast, we have Washington and California. We're going to skip over Oregon, which ChatGPT has deemed to be slightly more competitive. We also have Hawaii, Illinois in the Midwest, and in the Northeast, we have the 1st District of Maine, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, and the District of Columbia, giving the Democrats 149 electoral votes. Gavin Newsom takes a slight lead with the safe states filled in. Vance, though, is going to make up this difference with his likely states. Many of them are ones that Trump carried by over 15 points, states like Kansas, Indiana, and South Carolina, but according to our AI model, they have been placed into the likely category. And so we're now going to fill in the likely states for the vice president races. He will win by 5 to 15 percentage points. Starting off with the 4 most obvious ones, we have Kansas, Indiana, South Carolina, and Alaska. These states were never in doubt. We also have the 2nd Congressional District of Maine, as well as Iowa and Ohio in the lower Midwest. Republicans have gained significant ground here over the last decade. I mean, just look at the election in 2012. Barack Obama won Iowa by 6 points and Ohio by 3, but just 4 years later, Trump takes Iowa, wins it by 9, takes Ohio, wins it by 8. I mean, these are 15-point swings in favor of the Republican Party. In 2020, the margin basically stays the same, but it increases again in 2024 as Trump defeats Harris by a 13-point margin in Iowa and by 11 in the Buckeye state of Ohio. So the lower Midwest is not the same, not even close to what it was before Trump came into the scene. And so J.D. Vance has now tied Gavin Newsom. They're at 149 apiece, but we do have 2 more likely red states, and I don't think it'll be too surprising what they are. They will, of course, be located in the Sun Belt. We have Texas and Florida, giving Vance a combined 90 electoral votes. Florida has also seen an incredible political transformation. I mean, it was close in every single election in the early 2000s. Obama won it by less than 1% in 2012. In 2016, Trump wins it by 1.2, and this was a shock. In 2020, Joe Biden was supposed to be a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. Trump still won. He actually expanded his margin to 3.4. And then in 2024, Donald Trump wins Florida not by 5, not by 10 points, but by a 13-point margin. I don't believe J.D. Vance will be able to win the state by more than 15 in 2028, but it'll definitely be by more than 5, and our AI model does agree with that. And of course, Texas has always generally leaned Republican. Trump carried the state by nearly 14 in the last election. And so Vance is now just 51 electoral votes away from the presidency, but we do have some likely blue states to fill in on this map as well. Gavin Newsom is not going to go down without a fight. He's going to take Oregon, Colorado, and New Mexico in the West, all states where Kamala Harris's performance was pretty lackluster. Oregon, she won by 14. Colorado, she won by 11. New Mexico by 6. All of these margins were worse than Biden's margins from 4 years prior. Newsom is also going to take Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware, 3 states that Joe Biden won by more than 15 points in 2020. Basically, the entire North Atlantic seaboard was blue, and it was solid blue. But in 2024, Kamala Harris wins Connecticut by 14.5, New Jersey by 6. I mean, this was a huge drop-off from where Democrats were in 2020. Joe Biden carried the state by nearly 16, and Joe Biden's home state of Delaware also went to Harris by less than 15 points. The vice president will also take the state of Maine and its 2 electoral votes from the at-large vote, as well as Virginia's 13 electoral votes. And so this will give Gavin Newsom 211 electoral votes with all of his solid and likely states filled in. He now trails J.D. Vance by 8. And so the 9 states that now remain, this is the arena for the 2028 presidential election. ChatGPT has named these 9 states to be among the most competitive. They will all be placed into either the likely or the lean category. And so we're going to start off with the lean states, where either candidate will win by 1 to 5 percentage points. These races could realistically go either way, but one candidate still does have a slight edge. And you might remember that when we were talking about 2024, there were 7 swing states, but now there very likely are 9 after seeing Kamala Harris's performance against Donald Trump. She won Minnesota by 4 points, and this is with Tim Walz, the literal governor of Minnesota, on the ticket with her. And in New Hampshire, she wins by just 2.8. Joe Biden won the state by 7, but even Hillary Clinton performed terribly here, winning the Granite State by less than half a percentage point. Going into 2028, Minnesota and New Hampshire will likely be added to our list of competitive battlegrounds. And so to fill in these states, we're going to begin with the lean blue states. Gavin Newsom is going to take Minnesota, according to our AI model, 10 electoral votes. The home state of Tim Walz, the failed vice presidential candidate from the last general election. His political career is essentially over. There's basically no chance he's going to run in 2028. If he does, his campaign is going to be somewhat similar to that of Mike Pence's. He'll get a few percentage points because he's very well known and some people do like him. But overall, Tim Walz is not going to go anywhere. His one shot was his campaign with the former vice president, and that, of course, fell very flat. Kamala Harris won Minnesota by 4.2. Gavin Newsom probably won't fare too much better. He has basically no connection to the upper Midwest, and that is one of the big advantages that J.D. Vance has. He is, of course, from the home state of Ohio. He was elected to the Senate to serve the state of Ohio, and that is one of the big concerns that Democrats have, is that they need a candidate on the ballot that is going to perform well in the Rust Belt, where many of the most competitive states are. We do have one more lean blue state for Newsom, though, and that is going to be New Hampshire. It will be a highly contested race in 2028. Republicans haven't won the state since 2000 with George W. Bush, but they have come close. Donald Trump in 2016 loses to Hillary Clinton by 0.37. It was a shockingly close result. In 2024, Harris was supposed to win by 7. She ends up winning by just 2.8. And so New Hampshire will be the final lean state going to the California governor. On the Republican side, we don't have too many lean states either. We actually only have one, and that is the state of North Carolina. The Tar Heel state is the only one of the 7 2024 swing states that voted for Donald Trump in all 3 of the elections he ran in. In 2016, Trump won North Carolina, as well as, of course, Georgia, Arizona, and the 3 blue wall states. In 2020, Trump won North Carolina, but lost the rest. Lost Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin by very tight margins, and Georgia and Arizona by even tighter margins. But then 4 years later, against Kamala Harris, Trump not only wins North Carolina for a 3rd time, but he also takes back the blue wall, Arizona, Georgia, and even Nevada, a state Republicans hadn't won since 2004. And so 2024 was actually Trump's best performance, even better than his results from 2016. And so North Carolina has stayed with the Republican Party throughout those 8 years, and J.D. Vance is very likely to win it again in the next cycle. And so now with 6 states remaining, all of them are going to be placed into the tilt category, either tilt red or tilt blue. We made sure that the AI model did not place any races into an ambiguous toss-up category. And so we're going to begin out west with Nevada. Republicans flipped it, won it for the first time in 20 years in 2024. But on top of that, in 2022, Republicans won the governorship here, with Joe Lombardo narrowly beating out incumbent Democrat Steve Sisolak. Even with the incumbency advantage, Democrats lost the governorship in the Silver State, and all current trends point to J.D. Vance being able to hold on here in 2028. J.D. Vance is also likely to take Arizona even after Joe Biden won it in 2020. This was a big deal, as prior to this, Democrats hadn't won Arizona since Bill Clinton did back in 1996. But just 4 years later, with Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, Donald Trump not only wins Arizona back, he wins it by 5.5 points, even larger than his 2016 margin over Hillary Clinton, which was just 3.5. And so Arizona is clearly coming back into the Republican fold, and J.D. Vance is expected to hold on to the state as well, just like Nevada. Coming up now to the Midwest, we can honestly cover all 3 of these states together. They almost always vote together. The last time they didn't vote together was 1988. They have consistently been competitive, and they've also consistently gone to the same candidate in every single race. I mean, in 2024, Trump won all 3. Biden won all 3 in 2020. Trump again in 2016. This was a big deal, as these 3 states combined were known as the Blue Wall states because of how reliably Democratic they were. I mean, in 2012 and 2008, Obama easily won all 3 of them. He even won Michigan by a solid margin. But in 2004, it was closer, but they did all go to John Kerry. In 2000, they all went to Al Gore. 1996, all to Clinton. 1992, also all to Clinton. But go back to 1988 and you see the first split. Wisconsin went to Dukakis, while Michigan and Pennsylvania both went to George Bush. And so these states voting together has just become a trend we've seen over the last 3 decades, and Donald Trump's performance in them has been quite impressive. If you look at the 2012 election, Obama won Michigan by nearly 10 points, Pennsylvania by 5.4, and Wisconsin by nearly 7. Just 4 years later, Trump not only wins these states, but wins all 3 of them over Hillary Clinton, who was so confident that she barely even campaigned in the upper Midwest. And ever since then, Republicans have been performing significantly better in the region. And in 2028, our model predicts that J.D. Vance will take Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, sweeping the former blue wall. And finally, the last state we have on the map is the peach state of Georgia. Just like Arizona, the state flipped blue in 2020 with Joe Biden narrowly winning. This was the closest state of the 2020 presidential election, and unsurprisingly, Trump won it back in 2024, winning it by 2 points. Not as strong as this 5-point margin in 2016. Overall, Georgia is trending left, but J.D. Vance will probably be able to hold on in 2028 according to our model. It's going to be close, but it's going to be tilt red. The model doesn't expect Vance to win every single one of these states, but in each of them, he is more likely to win than not, but just barely in many of these instances. But overall, the model has J.D. Vance in a very strong position. He will also win the 2nd district of Nebraska that was placed into the tilt category as well. And so the final map, according to ChatGPT, is 313 electoral votes for JD Vance to 225 for Gavin Newsom. And the AI model actually tracks very well with the market odds on Kalshi. JD Vance, according to the betting markets, currently has a 33% chance of winning the presidency. This is basically with every single candidate imaginable being considered. So 33% is very high. Gavin Newsom in second at 22%. AOC is in third. Coming down here, we do have some other candidates. Pete Buttigieg in a four-way fourth, followed by Andy Bashir, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Josh Shapiro. Kamala Harris makes it on as well with a 3% chance. But overall, we can see that as of right now, the next general election is JD Vance's to lose. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video down below if you enjoyed it. Comment down below who you think will win in 2028. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content just like this, leading up to the 2026 midterms and the 2028 general election.